Welcome to the May edition of the Central Pennsylvania World War II Roundtable. I see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces, so welcome to you newcomers. As usual, we'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll all join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Join me in turning off the cell phone, please. Can't figure out how to do it. First timers, be recognized, please. I know you're there. Oh, back there, thank you. Welcome. Hope this isn't your last time. For your we're not going to ask you back, Ron. For your information, we also have a bunch of World War II veterans with us tonight. Would they be recognized? It's just awesome. By the way, May is National Military Awareness Month, in case you were not aware of that. Armed Forces Day is May 21st, and most Americans celebrate Armed Forces Day annually. It's the third Saturday of May. Armed Forces Week actually starts the second Saturday of May, and it's a day to pay tribute to men and women who serve in the United States Armed Forces. So if you see somebody in uniform, give them a little nod of recognition and say thank you. If you want to get emails or postcards, please let somebody with a blue shirt know, or sign up. Are there any sign-up sheets in the back door? Yes. There are? Okay. Sign-up sheets in the back, please. We can't let you know if you don't let us know who you are. A couple of announcements. Is Janice Johnson here? Janice Johnson stopped by a couple months ago and said, "This was my dad's uniform. I don't know anything about it. I was cleaning out the house and it was in the attic. This uniform is in immaculate condition. As you can see, he wasn't a very large man, but he fought with the 101st Infantry Division, which was a replacement division, which partook in the Battle of the Bulge. Two of its three regiments were surrounded by the Germans and captured during the Battle of the Bulge. Not a good way to start the war for them. This uniform has 4 battle stars on it, so I take it that he wasn't in one of the regiments that was captured, so he did good time. He did good time. If you want to see more about the 101st Division, I would suggest you Google it. I did, and they have a website, and they have a terrific accounting of their activity. Now, she gave it to me to ask if we knew of anybody who was a reenactor that reenacts the 101st Division. If anybody knows about anybody who is a reenactor or I'm sorry, 106. Thank you. 101st, they're different. Yeah, 106th Division. If anybody knows anybody who has any interest or connection to reenactor of the 106th, please let me know. We want to put it in the right hands. I've had several people who've come over and say, "I'd like to buy it from you." That's not what it's about. She wants it to be placed correctly with somebody who has something to do in reenacting or the history of her father's division. Yeah, I will take it down to World War II weekend and do a little soliciting there too. 106? Okay, talk to me. Okay, and finally, somebody was kind enough to attempt to donate a pair of sunglasses last month, sitting right up in here somewhere, or right about midway. Anybody lose a pair of sunglasses last month? Very nice of you, but we don't want them. No? Okay. That's all the silly stuff. Now, a few serious things. Bob Watkins, our esteemed treasurer, has some things he wants you to know. I hope it's not a dues increase. We don't pay dues.
Okay. Most of you know me because I'm...
That one's black. I haven't turned here.
Okay. I thought Cliff was censoring what I was going to say. Most of you know me as the guy that stands behind the used book table. We have a huge inventory of books and magazines and DVDs and VHS tapes. Please come and look, buy. I'm tired of carrying the books in and out of the closet. So, lots of great stuff, and a lot of it is brand new to us that we haven't seen before. Two other announcements. A number of you have asked for the ability to buy DVDs of our speakers. We are now selling copies of the DVDs that are made by John, $20 each. I have a sign-up sheet at the used book table. It's prepaid, so if you want a copy of any of the past speakers that we have on DVD, happy to sell it to you. So see me for that. And last but not least, a person was very kind and donated to us a complete set of the Time Life series on World War II. All 39 volumes in pristine condition. I don't think they were ever read. And what we're going to do with those, rather than sell them off piecemeal, we're going to sell them as a set. That same kind of set sells on Amazon for $250. What we're going to do is a silent auction. I have the sign-up sheet. Minimum bid is $100 to start. I'm putting in a bid for $105. My wife will kill me if I bring them home, so somebody has to outbid me. All right? But the auction will be this month and next month. Hopefully we'll get enough interest in it that people will buy them. They are wonderful books, great pictures. You all know the quality of Time Life. And it's a beautiful set. So it's a great bargain. Great Father's Day present for yourself. So that's it. Thank you.
Let's hear it from Bob. Okay, Chris Burton. Tell a little bit about the Vietnam Roundtable.
Well, I have three things. Kurt forgot to mention that this Sunday is Mother's Day, so it's very important that husbands recognize wives and we all recognize our mothers. So please don't forget to do that. Second thing, Lower Dolphin High School is asking Vietnam veterans to come and talk next Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're not getting the response that I'd hoped for. So Tess Svinsky over at Lower Dolphin would like to open this up to Cold War veterans. So any Cold War veterans, come and see me. I have the schedule. It's any class period next Tuesday and Wednesday starting at 7:34 in the morning. So it's just talking to the students about your military experience. And the third thing is a bunch of us Vietnam veterans run a Vietnam roundtable similar to what we do here. And our speaker coming up next Thursday at 8000 Dairy Street is Taj King from York. He was a F-4 pilot, Air Force F-4 pilot. So that's May, next Thursday, and then the following month in June, George Knoll from the York area. He was with the 1st Air Cav. He was in the artillery unit supporting them. So, most important is Mother's Day this Sunday. It's less pain if you remember.
I was gonna say that. Ricky Hollis, anything about the, you here? Okay, not here. Nothing to report about the Civil War roundtable. Okay. Again, a reminder, if everybody loves to have a shirt, we sell $25 prepaid. And the most important reminder is, for those of you who don't know it, the helmet committee will be there by the door to welcome you and accept your offerings at the end of the evening. Believe it or not, those contributions help us keep going and do good things for veterans. So that's what it's all about.
Question.
Sir?
Floyd Demi is in the hospital.
Yes, he is.
Floyd Demi,
Yeah. Floyd Demi is in the hospital.
prayer for him. I'd like to have prayer for him. Floyd Demi. Floyd Demi is in the hospital, and I'd like to remember to try to pray for him to get a chance.
Thank you. And most of you would recognize Floyd Demi if he were here. He's been a regular and a terrific guy. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He's a good guy. Couple World War II notes. May. For us, we didn't get into it quite yet, but Germany invaded, in 1940, Germany invaded Belgium, France, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. And Winston Churchill became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom upon the resignation of Neville Chamberlain, and that was probably a good thing. Belgium declares a state of emergency. The German massive offensive against the Western Front, they landed in Luxembourg and Belgium and the Netherlands. And in a bold stroke, German paratroops captured the Belgian fort Eben-Amel. They came in with gliders on what was assumed to be an impregnable fortress overlooking the Wilhelmina Canal, with the guns trained on the bridges to keep the Germans from crossing the river and getting into the lowlands. They came in at night or in the early morning by glider on what was assumed to be a minefield, until the guy that flew the plane that delivered the airmail of the German Luftwaffe saw the troops up there playing soccer, and he said, I don't think that's probably a minefield. So the Germans said, okay, we'll bring in the gliders, and they captured Eben-Amel in a terrific, quick, fast coup. Minimum loss of life, but a terrifically strategic offensive. And that's recognized as the first airborne operation ever, even though it wasn't parachutes.
Hello, running an answer.
Certainly.
On May 21st and 22nd, we had a World War II weekend at the Lancaster County Historical Society off President Avenue. Everyone's welcome. On Saturday night, under the big tent, we have a 17-piece dance band doing the 40s music.
We don't have to dance. You can just sit like I do with the bad knee and watch them dance the night away, but the music is spectacular. 21st Saturday and the 22nd Sunday.
Great, thank you. For future reference, if you have announcements you'd like to make, give me a slip of paper and I'll make them, and we'll make sure you get the right. But thank you for that. In fact, I've got another one I forgot to mention, so I'll have to do that one. Here's one on the 25th of May 1940. The Allied forces, being the British and the French, retreated to Dunkirk. And I'm sure you've all heard about Dunkirk. I'd love to have somebody come up and talk to us some evening about Dunkirk. That was a massive operation, and there's a big black eye for a lot of people. Hitler ordered a halt to the advance of the Germans towards the beachhead and allowed Hermann Goering to use the Luftwaffe to attack. And as bad as it was, it would have been worse had the British RAF not defended the beachhead. So here's for the Brits. The Belgians surrendered to the Germans on the 28th. They took the King, Leopold, put him in jail. And on the 31st, on the other side of the world, the Japanese heavily bombed national capital Chongqing of China on the upper Yangtze River. So it was going on both sides of the world. A note given to me a short while ago, just so you know, Alan Huddleston. Anybody know who he was? He was the last of the Bedford boys. He just passed away in February, age 97, and 10th of February. The Bedford of the Bedford, Virginia, of the 29th Division, Company A, 116th, had 35 guys in it. 21 died on D-Day, and the next few days, 2 more died in other companies. So, phenomenal loss for the town of Bedford, the highest mortality rate of any town, and there's a terrific monument to them down there in Virginia. Okay, to the matters at hand. Before we get going with the, I have one more thing. You know, we all heard about the Berlin airlift, one of the great airlift operations associated with World War II. It was actually after World War II. Most of us remember it. Not you in the back there, but it lasted for longer than a year, from June 26, 1948 to September 30th, 1949, to get supplies into Western Berlin that had been blocked off by the Soviets in the east sector of Germany. So they flew in a tremendous amount of food and stuff into Berlin. But the other one was called the Hump. And you'll hear a lot about that tonight from our speaker. It was given the name by the Allied pilots of the Second World War to the eastern end of the Himalayan mountains, over which they flew military transport aircraft from India to China to resupply the Chinese war effort of Chiang Kai-shek and the units of the United States Army Air Forces that were based in China. It was originally referred to as the India-China Ferry. It began in April of 1942 after the Japanese blocked the Burma Road, and it continued daily until August of 1945. A tremendous operation. Charlie, before you introduce our speaker, would you tell us about our upcoming speakers?
Yes, I will, but
Let's start with Laura. June, speaker.
you're the June speaker?
I'm the June speaker.
Speak.
June speaker is Dr. Robert Ellers. I'm surprised Charlie is allowing him to come. He's an Ohio State Buckeye. As you know, we are stretched thin with acquiring World War II veterans who will be able to come speak. And Dr. Ellers will be in the area for World War II weekend in Reading. He's a retired United States Air Force colonel. He has served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he has written extensively on the RAF and the United States Army Air Corps. Has done several documentaries with the BBC, and I'm sure we will give him a great Penn State "We Are Welcome" when he comes.
Thank you, Laura.
Where are you going to be this weekend?
Where are you going to be this weekend?
Last tuition.
Last tuition for her daughter. Graduation at Penn State. Congratulations to you and to Cliff as well. I'm looking forward to meeting the doctor. I know he's got his BA, MA, and PhD from Ohio State, but he brings more to the table than that. We want to do that. Up to me, are you finished? Yeah, we have a speaker coming in July, 2nd Ranger Battalion hit Normandy on D-14, and then went all the way through as a Ranger Sergeant. And I actually went up with our friends from Allentown, the Lehigh Valley History Group, and we filmed him for the Library of Congress, which is something I want to talk to Chris about. Maybe we could start that as well. But it was totally interesting 2 hours, and the story is amazing. Very humble man, and he accomplished quite a bit. He'll be here in July, yeah. And then I have I actually went to York last night to see David Tuck, who is a Holocaust survivor. And I tried to get up to see him, but there was 27 kids with selfies. I couldn't get close to him. But he is also on the World War II panel weekend in Reading. And as you know, we've been working with them and also in tandem with Lehigh Valley to coordinate the vets that speak. So he'll be a speaker, and I hope to bring him here in August. And there's a couple more behind that. I just need to firm them up yet. Yes, it comes up the first weekend in June. That's 3, 4, and 5. This is the 26th annual. There'll be, I should get Chris, 50-some warbirds there? Yeah, 50-some warbirds you can fly. Actually flying a B-29, B-17, a Mustang, so many of different ones. And you can come and meet 30 World War II veterans, and they're quite varied from that. In addition to that, there'll be 1,700 reenactors. It goes 3 days. It's the biggest thing going, and we're proud and pleased to be asked to be part of it. So we're doing our thing. There's a poster out there. And pamphlets, if you think you can make it to Reading on that day, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we would love to have you. And I think it'd be an amazing experience of all that they do. We thank them for that. One more thing. Marshall. Where's Marshall? Marshall, you see what this is? That's your buddy. You just said you want to say a prayer for Floyd. We should all say a prayer for Floyd. Floyd, when I interviewed him about 3 years ago at the WWII in Hummelstown, where's Bill Jackson? Here? Yeah. We got done after about an hour, and I shook his hand, and I said, I feel like I just talked to Lou Holtz for an hour. Because he looks like Lou Holtz, and he actually talks like Lou Holtz. And he's been a wonderful supporter of ours. This picture was taken when he spoke. And Dylan, where's Dylan? There's Dylan in the back. Dylan Kreiner, in uniform, came, and he brings the postcards, and he meets the vets. And he was standing there, and Floyd came down, and he grabbed him by the sleeve, and he said, Dylan, how comes you outrank me? He had Air Force wings, he had stripes, he had everything. And you can't see it, but there's a big blush on your face there, Dylan. And that picture has become iconic, and we use it in all our marketing. Floyd is in the hospital. He's being challenged right now. I had this made up today, and I'm asking people to please sign it. And we'll get it there for the family.
He's the only two of my church. They were in World War II.
I can't hear you.
We're the only two in World War II in our church. He's in the hospital right now. So I'm just praying because I don't want to be the only one left in the church.
We'll all pray for him. And we're going to put that in the lobby. If you will, when you leave, please sign it. Sign your name if you're a veteran. Sign your name if you're not a veteran. We're doing this to hopefully raise his spirits. So that's that. Tonight we have special guest. We have Bob Rineer from Elizabethtown, Masonic Village, I should say. And I met Bob a couple of weeks ago. Called him, and I forget how I got your name. I think your picture's on the post office wall. I read that, yeah. And I called him and I said, I'm in need of a speaker. He said, come on down, I'll be glad to tell my story. And I met a very wonderful individual, and we've had some great conversations. And tonight we're going to try and explain what I've never done before, and that's the Burma, China, India theater. To my knowledge, this is the first speaker that I've had from that theater. So I read for a week to be knowledgeable about this. And I thought, that's not going to work, because if I sit here and read for half an hour, you guys are going to be going to sleep or walking out. So Laura, bless her heart, said, well, I can do better than that. I can give you a video on YouTube, 10, 15 minutes, which will tell the story. And I think that'll be better than me fumbling through some pages. Bob had some vision problems. We were going to do some notes and things like that, but that didn't work. So for the first time tonight, I'm going to do something I've never done before, and that is interview. So I'm going to move a chair over here. Bob's going to sit next to me, and then I'm going to interview him as to the discussion we had from a week or two ago. So bear with us. I think it'll work out pretty well. And now I'll turn it over to Laura for the video.
After the Japanese invasion of eastern China in 1937. According to one eyewitness, it was scratched out of the mountains with fingernails. Chinese labored, and many died, so that blockaded China could fight out. Late in 1938, the road was completed, following the ancient trade route used in the Middle Ages by caravans bearing silk and jade, amber and iron. Now that route was to be traveled by caravans of guns and fuel, ammunition and food, across the land bridge of Burma to China, to keep that country alive in its struggle against Japan, just as Russia had been kept alive in its battle against Germany by the land bridge of Iran. The Nazis tried to destroy that lifeline, but Iran was saved by the British at El Alamein and by the Russians at Stalingrad. China was not as fortunate. 1 month after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese struck at the land bridge of Burma. This is the story of the destruction of that bridge, and of the men who fought and died to rebuild it, so that China could fight out. A defeated China would mean India invaded, and increased pressure on General MacArthur and Admiral Nimitz in the Pacific. The invasion started in January 1942. Both on the ground and in the air, the Japs had overwhelming superiority. On the Allied side, General Alexander headed small forces of British, Indians, and Burmese. And General Stilwell commanded Chinese troops sent by Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. The Japanese sought to cut off China's supply line from Rangoon to Mandalay, and then to the Burma Road, running from Lashio to Kunming. They struck from the border of Thailand toward the vital port of Rangoon. Chennault and his American volunteer group, the Flying Tigers, together with small units of the RAF, helped to hold off the advance. The Japs attacked Rangoon in force. Rangoon fell. The enemy swept on to central Burma, along the road to Mandalay, where by air and ground, and with the aid of 5th colonists and looters, they destroyed that city. Despite Chinese resistance, they overran the Salween River area on to Lashio, terminus of the Burma Road. By the end of April, they captured the strategically important town of Michina. The Burma Road was cut. Thousands of refugees choked the roads as Alexander and Stilwell were forced to retreat with what was left of their armies. Last to leave were the demolition squads who scorched the earth, destroyed equipment, and put fire to oil supplies. Retreated, that joined with them an ever-growing mass of refugees, Burmese whose homes and lives had been shattered. The Allies did what they could for these refugees, and through brilliant leadership and individual fortitude, managed to keep ahead of the Japs. They retreated along elephant trails, through jungle, across rivers and mountains, for the safety of India. Stilwell said the last word on the campaign.
I claim we got a hell of a beating. We got run out of Burma, and it's humiliating as hell. I think we ought to find out what caused it, go back and retake the place.
Burma covers approximately the same area as Texas. On its western border lies India. On its eastern, China, Indochina, and Thailand. To many, Burma is a land of legend, a shrine of Buddhism with its pagodas, its fabled road to Mandalay, its colorful cities and villages, its strange and picturesque people. To the Allies, however, who were to fight there, Burma is a land of perpetual struggle against nature, with jungles so thick that whole armies can pass within a short distance of each other without detection. Wide and turbulent rivers that are almost impassable. Mountain barriers reaching their greatest height in the Himalayas, the highest range in the world. It's a land of extreme climate, intense cold, heat, and monsoon. Rainfall as great as anywhere on Earth. Its swamps are breeding grounds for malarial mosquitoes. Cholera, beriberi, typhus, dysentery, tropical fevers and sores plague its inhabitants. This was the land where we were to fight. The task of reopening the land bridge of Burma was a tremendous one. General Stilwell's first act after the Japanese invasion was the formation of an American command, known as CBI, China, Burma, India. From China came thousands of Chinese. They were carried over the Himalayas by planes of the American Air Force to Ramgarh in India. Here under CBI, a huge training station had been started. On the British side, the Commander-in-Chief of India Command was Field Marshal Sir Archibald Whalen, later to become Viceroy and to be succeeded in his military leadership by General Sir Claude Auchinleck. On the shoulders of these men, there fell the responsibility of raising and training huge armies for the defense of India. It wasn't long before India became a vast armed camp. From the independent kingdom of Nepal came the Gurkhas. From the Naga Hills, Naga headhunters joined forces with the Allies. From East Africa and West Africa came more troops. From Burma came the Burma Rifles. And from the Chin Hills, Chin Kachin tribesmen. Scots, Irish, English, Welsh, Australian, New Zealander, Indian, Gurkha, Burman, African, Chinese, American. Never was there such a polyglot army. In the meantime, in China, roads packed with refugees gave evidence of the terrific struggle against the Japanese advance. There were attempts to push through other trades. Mule packs were driven over the Himalayas to China at freezing altitudes, but the cargo they could carry was pitifully small, and the time it took incredibly long. The first step was the construction of an air bridge across which supplies were to be flown by flyers of the American Transport Command, shuttling back and forth over what they called the hump. It was a slow process. The equipment had to be taken apart so there could be loaded aboard planes. It was flown across Burma over the Himalayas to Kunming in China. Enemy interception, particularly from the important air base at Michigan, denied them a direct line and forced them north over a much higher route. They flew across jungles, through mist and fog. Over mountains, often at heights of over 20,000 feet, with the menace of Japanese planes ever present. They made a sky bridge 525 miles long over the roof of the world, and carried across in unarmed transport planes the vital supplies needed by the American and Chinese air forces and the Chinese armies. But it wasn't enough. There was still desperate need for a land bridge. So at the end of 1940,
his vision. So when I got to Masonic Village, he said, "Here, I have it all written out for you."
It's stuffed in the back here. Do you want all that?
I can show it. Yeah, I forgot. And then you had a backpack.
Show him how we cut it down.
Yeah. So I went down to meet him, and he said, "I have this all written out for you, but my vision is challenged, and the letters have to be that big." So he had the people with Masonic villages put it to paper so we could get it to you guys. But when I looked at it, I said, "You know, I think we got a problem." Because that's what he wrote. But when he converted it to the paper, you have to turn one page at a time, about half a ream of paper there. I said, and you hold it up close like this because your eye challenges. I said, "I think we're going to do an interview rather than do this one page at a time." So, however it takes to get it done, we're going to get it done. We're going to do it by interview. And if you have questions, don't feel bad just to step in. I'm going to start where Bob started with me. Well, I had a couple questions on this side. I didn't ask you this. When and where were you born?
I was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, May 2nd, 1922.
Birthday boy. We just had a birthday. 94. What did you do before the war?
I worked for Armstrong.
Okay,
that's your department.
No, that's much better for the lights. Thank you. And were you married or were you single?
Single.
You were single.
I got married when I came out of the service.
Where were you when you found out about Pearl Harbor?
Where was I?
Yeah, where were you in Pearl Harbor? December 7th, 1941. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I remember. I was in Lancaster.
You were in Lancaster. Okay. Did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, I became 20 years of age and received a postcard from the United States government. Big letters in the top of the card. Congratulations. You have now been inducted into the United States Army. You will report to the Lancaster Railroad Station, so-and-so date, so-and-so time. That's how I became a member of the United States. No, I became a member of the Armed Services, Armed Forces.
Bob was the commander of the VFW in Mountville.
I was past commander of the VFW in Mountville because I lived there for 10 or 12 years and was very active at the VFW. We have a very nice post down there. We did a lot for the community. I just tell a couple of fellows since I'm here that the VFW saved their money and the ball field in the rear of our property now belongs to the Fulton Bank, but it's for the Mountville Athletic Association, and it's for the kids that are going to be our grandkids or great-grandkids and kids after that. The ball field is strictly for the Mountville Athletic Association, for the kids in Mountville to have a place to play, and it belongs to the Mountville Association, but the bank is taking care of it. We raised $175,000, $75,000 for the lights so they have to play at nighttime. The other $100,000 is strictly for the Mountville Athletic Association to maintain that property for years and years and years and years to come. So we did a lot for Mountville.
You certainly paid your civic rent. Your family, your parents, what were their names?
My mother's name, my father's name is Arthur W. Rineer. He was a bus driver, first of all, a trolley driver. and then a bus driver. That's all he did all his life. My mother's name was Gertrude Springer, S-P-R-E-N-G-E-R. Her grandfather had a Springer's Brewery in Lancaster, and, well, I'm not sure if I don't know anything about that, but I know there was such a thing.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
I had a twin brother, William, a younger sister, Martha Waldrop. She lived in New Holland all her life, and my older sister, Mildred, Mildred Bechtel. She lives with her daughter right now in Bowie, Maryland, and that's right, not too far from Washington, D.C. Her husband just died a year or so ago, a year and a half ago, and they were married 67 years. So she had a very pleasant marriage.
Yes. Your twin brother, Bill, did you get the congratulations postcard the same day, or did you both go in the service?
We both got a postcard at the same time for the service, yes.
And what did it ask you to do? Where'd you report?
We reported to Newtown, Pennsylvania. I was only there about 24 hours, and I was on a train headed for San Antonio, Texas. And a couple days later, he was on a train headed for Florida, because he went right into the Air Force, and I went down to San Antonio, 35 miles from San Antonio, Texas. There was a big camp there. The name of the camp was Bullis, B-U-L-L-I-S, Camp Bullis. I took my basic training there, and it was hot as the devil in the summer, in the daytime, and chilly as the devil at nighttime. And we took our basic training there, and then the whole outfit moved up to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. It was just the opposite up there. Up there was pretty darn chilly in the daytime, but
You received your basic, it was infantry training?
infantry training. And,
Rifle, you're qualified with weapons, or what
you
did
know, what we did, yeah, I forgot about that. I went down there to get my basic training. I was in the infantry, but and the artillery, and anyhow, we did a lot of marching, of course, and then after that we took a 2-mile hike. Following that 2-mile hike, a day or two later we took a 5-mile hike, and the following week we took a 10-mile hike. I'm not trying to be funny, but this is true. And after that was 15-mile, then 20 and 25-mile hike. We were full packed with a rifle, and we had to pass that 25-mile hike. And then after everybody was done with that, then we moved up to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Our outfit then, like I said, I was in the 2nd Infantry Division, and they were headed for France, I believe. And about that time, a bunch of equipment from the government, and what we did, we were supposed to be the guinea pigs. We were supposed to wear this
winter gear, winter clothing?
No, clothing. The clothing was for the winter, and in other words, you can sleep out in the snow and everything with this stuff on. So anyhow, we got all this equipment, clothing and so forth, and then we took it by truck. We drove up to northern Michigan. We're not too far from the Canadian border, and there has 6 foot of snow, and you know, if you ever saw snow, that's a lot of snow. Well, in the meantime, we had all this good equipment, you know. We were testing it, of course, and we had our sleeping bags were something else. They were fantastic. They really were. They were bigger than you needed. They were wider than you needed, but you needed clothing. In other words, what they told us to do was go out there and dig a hole of snow. That's going to be your bed. Well, you dig this big hole of snow, and then you put your sleeping bag in there, you crawl in it. So they warned us to take as much clothing off when you get in that sleeping bag, so that in the morning, you'd have something to put on, and then go out in the cold, you know. But while we were there, of course, we performed a mock war. You know, we were doing actually fighting and stuff, firing rifles, firing our cannons, a 37 millimeter and 105 howitzers. But anyhow, we performed it for a week up there. Then we came back to Camp McCoy. First thing they did when we got back there was to give us a duty. Well, we're going to wash windows today. Windows? We thought, why are we washing windows? Well, they wouldn't give us something to do. Anyhow, they give everybody a bucket with water in it and a bunch of newspaper. That's what we washed all the windows in all the buildings up there at Camp McCoy.
You got a note here that says you were there, and did you talk to your brother, or what does, at the convenience of the government?
All right. Now, my twin brother was in the Air Force, and I just said he went from Florida to Barksdale Field, Louisiana, which is right outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, working for a chaplain, that's all he did the whole time he was in the service, lucky blow. So, anyhow, they saw an edict that said, the government said that twins could be kept together at the convenience of the government. So they didn't think much of it. Then my brother said, well, let's see what we can do about it. So they went ahead, and I'm not sure the time element involved here, but it wasn't real long, maybe a couple of months. And I got a call from my sergeant. He said that boss wants to see you. I thought, what the devil did I do, you know? But anyhow, went in, he said that the edict did come through in my favor, that I have papers now to go down to Barksdale Field, Louisiana, and join my twin brother. That's how I got into the Air Force.
Now, you went into the Air Force, did you have to visit different training? You were infantry, now you're in the Air Force.
Now I'm in the Air Force. Now, I chose communication because I always thought I would like it. I was always interested in that kind of stuff. And I got some training down here, and after I was done with my training, they threw me over to a school, and what we did, we trained the pilot, the co-pilots, and the radio men that were flying B-26s we had down there. And I had to teach them a different...
You're a radio man now.
Yeah, I'm a radio man now. And things that they had to know when they did over there, you know, different things that we weren't supposed to tell anybody, of course. But anyhow, I did that for a while, and then finally they had an opening up in the control tower, and I didn't know if I was interested. I said, well, yeah, I guess, you know. Climbing up there, and I thought that was kind of monotonous too, so then one day I just went into the boss and I said, well, I'm going to volunteer for overseas. So, okay. So I went from there to Greensboro, North Carolina, which is an overseas replacement depot. And I was over there for about 3 months before I got on a train that goes from Greensboro, North Carolina to California. So now I take the train ride to California. Well, they dropped us off at a town called Wilmington, California, which is not too far from Hollywood. And it wasn't very far. So anyhow, we had a couple of days there, and first thing we do when we get there, we got an APO for writing. That stands for Army Post Office, right? Army Post Office APO, New York, New York. So we're going into Hollywood, about 4 of us, and we said, what the devil do we have an APO in New York? We're in California, we're going over that way, you know, we're not going over this way. Anyhow, we got into Hollywood, and my one buddy that's smart, he says, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's stop at this photography shop and get our pictures taken. Okay, sounds good. Well, now, why are we doing that? My buddy said, well, you dummy, we're going to have them send our picture to our home, wherever it is. Well, mine was going back to Pennsylvania. So, but when we went in there, the first thing we saw was a cardboard thing. It looked like a jail with bars, you know, and everything. Bless you. Whoever you are. Anyhow, we were back to this cardboard, but 4 of us had our pictures taken, and we paid the photographer to send a picture for each of us back to our homes. Now my mother knew. She did know, but now she knows that if I was in California and my mail was going to New York, she knew I didn't leave from New York, I was leaving from California. So then later, of course, after we drove to India, then she put 2 and 2 together, but I was sweating it out a little bit because my mother did a picture from this photographer, you know. Her son's in jail, you know, first thing she thought. But it wasn't true, it was just because we were back to that cardboard thing.
Now you left California, headed for India. I assume you were on a ship.
Yeah.
Slow boat to
It
China.
was a pretty big ship, I forget the name of it, but anyhow. They did have some cargo, not much, but they had some cargo. And we went from Wilmington, California, down across the equator. Now we're headed for the east coast of Australia. Is that Perth or Melbourne? I forget. Melbourne. All right, now we docked there and then got some water and all this brony. Now we go down around the bottom part of Australia, headed for the west coast, and we landed in Perth, Australia. Stayed there for a few hours, I don't know how long. Now we go back, now we're headed for north, up to India, now we cross the equator one more time. So, I think they made a Navy man out of me, I don't know, but I did not get sick one bit. I really honestly enjoyed it. And,
Is that the polywog ritual they put you through?
yeah, whatever you call that big thing, I got a certificate, I crossed the equator. Of course, I lost a little hair in the way, you know. They just take
From Perth to
take
India.
a clipper and just go right over your head. What's that?
Perth to India, that was by boat as well, same ship.
Perth to India by boat, yeah, across the equator again. And now we get to Calcutta. Calcutta, which is southern India. We get on a train there. They have a narrow gauge track over there. It's very small. Now our track over here is something like maybe 39 3/4 inches, something like that, the width of the track in here. Anyhow, there is very small, and the trains are crappy. The cars we were in, all they have is benches, 2 big benches. You sit there, they give you a box of sea rations and say goodbye. So now we went to northern India. Northern India, we went to the northwest corner of India called Dinjan, D-I-N-J-A-N. And there's where we settled. That's where I joined the Air Force, 10th Air Force, which they had just come from Burma, and I was there like a couple days later. So I got on a C-46 cargo plane as a radio operator and engineer. The reason why I mention engineer is because the engineer could not go along with us at a trip. We wanted them, but we couldn't do that because as soon as we come back, we got the plane ready for us to fly the next day. So by us doing that, he stayed back in India and to take care of our plane when we came back. So we were flying 7 days a week over there.
C-46 was the largest twin-engine aircraft in the world, had the heaviest payload. I don't know what the service shield.
Thank you for telling me, I didn't know that.
Did they lock you in?
Huh?
Did they lock you in the plane? Yeah. And what was the horsepower? 2,000 horsepower engine?
C-46 we flew in, had 2 engines, 4 blades, 2 engines, 2,000 horsepower each. Our wingspan was 104 feet, so that's a pretty long span. you had to be careful because, like I said, no, I didn't say it yet. We had a flight, we flew a valley run where the mountains weren't too high, and there was a valley there, so we'd fly that way because we had a cargo on. So then, when we come back, we flew 22,000 feet high to let our planes that were going over, let them fly that valley route. But you couldn't mess around that valley route because with the wingspan like that, you can't mess around. You fly in that valley route because you don't have too much chance to go left or right. It's very dangerous.
If you take the wrong valley, you got a dead end, then what?
What's that?
If you take the wrong valley, you're a dead end. You can't climb, you can't turn.
You can climb, yeah. You got plenty of places. You can't go down, no.
Yeah. How much cargo were you carrying? Gas?
We were carrying, yeah. The whole time I was over there, we were carrying 100 octane gasoline.
55?
55 gallon drums.
That's 300 pounds. How many? Well, you had service.
It was full. I don't remember.
I think you had 15 to 20,000 pound service load.
Could be. I don't know. I know it was a bunch of them.
You were large.
Had them all tied down. Go ahead.
Now that's into the valleys, and you flew over to Cheekiang. Is that right?
Okay, now
Southern China?
I flew 39 hump missions, and now we come back for the 39th one, and we flew the whole unit, our whole 10th Air Force over to southern China in a town called Cheekiang. And I said to Charlie, I said, I don't know how you spell it, but that's the name of it. Anybody can spell it, go ahead, Cheekiang. Anyhow, that's where we went. And now we're over there, the war was over, and there's still Japs in China. And our Marines had to go in and disarm the Japs because Chinese soldiers could not do it. So after they disarmed the Japs, then we flew Chinese soldiers from southern China up to northern China. We did that for quite a while. And when we hauled our unit over to China, we never had more than 25 men. We hauled them Chinese troops, we were hauling 55 men. We just put them in there, you know.
I think you shared with me you didn't trust these guys.
What's that?
You didn't trust these Chinese, you said.
No, we didn't. Sorry. Anyhow, they're here, now they're going to get on our plane. I made darn sure that I took every damn thing they had. Their rifle and all the other junk they carried, and I put it in the belly of the ship. So that when they get on there, they didn't have nothing, you know.
39 missions.
39.
Now you fly at the end of the war, you fly to Shanghai?
Yeah. Cheekiang to Shanghai.
Peking to Shanghai. And what'd you do with the planes? The war was over.
That's a good question. When we left there, all of our planes, we flew up to northern China, a big area up there, and we put one plane right back to the other. And the whole is big field. Now we got on a boat and came back here, and all them planes we left over there.
Hundreds?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
A bunch.
So you got on an attack cargo ship.
What's that?
AKA, attack cargo ship. But you didn't have
If there's any Navy guys who have been done here, tell me what an AKA ship was. That's all I was told. The ship that we had from China to Seattle, Washington, in the United States, we came back, we were heading on an angle down from where we were in China to Seattle, Washington, got about halfway down in our trip, and we hit a bad storm, so we had to go directly due south. like to say goodbye halfway there, and we had to go due south because of the storm. That left up, now we went due north, back up to Seattle. It was a bad, bad storm, and I'll tell you, if you ever saw high tide, it was high. You couldn't see nothing but water, and you looked up, all you saw was water real high. How in the devil we took back there and did do something, you know, something happened to us, but we were very lucky, I must admit.
You can take the measure of a man by what he says. They arrived in Seattle at night. Lots of lights.
We arrived.
Huge flag. Band playing, I'm going to quote you,
Right.
made me cry. And thank the Lord for all he did.
We arrived in Seattle at midnight. Anyhow, there was all kind of lights there, and there was a big band. I don't know how many members, but it was big. And they were playing for us, and had the American flag flying, and made me cry a little bit.
Just to be back. Good. Now you're in for another cross-country train ride.
Yeah, now, after we ate, they gave us plenty of food, I mean, all kinds of food. So now, as soon as that's over, we get on a train and head for the east, so, for Pennsylvania. So we now had another big ride across the country, and got back here to Pennsylvania. We stopped at, we ended up, at Newtown, and got a discharge and stuff, and I can remember distinctly they told me a lot about re-enlisting, you know, and staying in. They also told me about insurance that we could have. It was awful cheap and all that. I didn't take it, my brother did. Later on, he had to convert his policy to a regular policy, you know, like Prudential and so forth. He had to transfer it to that kind of a policy. I was also offered a job. It said that they had a good paying job for me in the control tower. I forget what it was, but it was really, really a fantastic salary, plus all the benefits and so forth. And I just shook my head. I said, not interested, I'm going home and get married. I gave my lady friend, my girlfriend, she was 2 years back of me, so we went together the whole time. She was in high school, and when I left, I told her, I said, if I come back and I'm not all beat up and all that, I said, would you marry me? She said, I sure would. So I gave her ring. I was engaged the whole time. So I came back, and